All right, my recording stopped in the middle, and I have no idea why. No idea. So let's just hope it continues recording from where I'm at. I guess I have two videos to upload. Anyway, you want to get paintbrushes. So you can buy really cheap kid ones that work well. And I just love the bigger brushes. I think if you buy a couple big brushes and you buy a couple smaller brushes, like the thinner, see, you're good to go. And you can buy these in a package. And I use my coupon, I buy the Donna Dewberry one stroke painting, and she has all the size brushes in there. She has this is one of my favorite brushes too. They're by Plaid, but they're called one stroke. This is the scruffy brush. And I that's what I buy, and you get everything in there, and you can't beat it. So if you're starting out, use a coupon, buy that package, you have all the paintbrushes you need. I suggest a black permanent ink. All right, this is a waterproof. Ranger Archival has them. Stays On has them. I suggest black if you're starting out, just to have it for your stamps or whatever else we're going to use it for. If you can afford more colors, then of course go for it. But I think black's an essential. A pair of scissors. These are the Color Bee precision sharp ones, but you can get dollar store scissors. It doesn't matter. Just some random scrapbook paper. What I do is, I know some dollar stores sell them, and it doesn't matter what they look like because we can always alter them. But what I do is I go to AC Moore, Michael's, or Joann's, and I go in their clearance section for their scrapbook paper, and they always have 25 cents, 15 cents, 10 cents for big sheets of paper. I buy a few and I bring them home, and then I alter them to how I want them. So those are great to have. Again, like I said, paper towel, and then your paper to work on. And what I suggest, and I suggest this all the time, this is a different color one, different colors of one, but this is cardstock. Now my AC Moore sells white cardstock for $4.99. They have it on sale a lot of times for like $2.50 or two for $5. I always have white cardstock. Y'all know that. I use it for stencils. I use it for ATC cards. I use it for backgrounds. I use it for everything. I bought a pack that had different colors in it, and this is fantastic. So if you cannot afford a mixed media notebook, and you cannot afford, some of the higher price paper, watercolor paper, whatever, this will do. Now, if you like Mod Podge, buy Mod Podge. What I like is good old white school glue. A couple people have bought it from the dollar store and didn't like it. It had a really strong odor. I always buy Elmer's, so you can use a coupon for that too at the store. Your handy old water bottle. I always have a water bottle. And your glue stick. Those are like my favorite things in the world that I can do if I have with me in a package that I can take out into the living room or into bed or whatever, or just take to the doctor's. Also, of course, bubble wrap, which we all have bubble wrap somewhere, and I have hordes of it. Bubble wrap's fantastic. And I have bigger ones and smaller ones. But to make a little package of this that you carry around with you, I have a bag, put everything in it, and I'm off to the races. So those are things to start. Now, let me show you a few things. And I'm going to show it on here, even though this is not the best surface for. Now we'll do this last. I'm just going to take out this paper. Now, I'm going to take my white glue. I'm going to check to see if I'm reading anything. If I'm missing anything. Hi, anybody new that came in. I got 25 people. Very excited. And 5 guests. Oh, Lindsay Crafts, I see. Sherry Photo? Is that Sherry? My Sherry? All right. Okay. So, I'm going to take just white school glue. I'm going to put it, this is just a non-stick craft mat. If you don't have one of them, use wax paper, parchment paper. You can use, whatever you usually use to work on, really. And what I do is I water the hell out of it. And then I take my brush and I mix it around. And this is where this is used for a lot of different things. And I'm going to show you. All right. So first we're going to seal this paper. I'm just going to seal half of it so you can see the difference. Now, normally you would use a gesso. This is going to be considered our clear gesso. And that's all I'm going to do. Okay, so that's going to dry. And then secondly, what I'm going to do is take a piece of my scrapbook paper, just tear it. I'm going to put some glue on the back, glue on the front, and then we'll glue it on. And now you have your Mod Podge, Collage Podge, your matte medium, what have you. Okay. And, oh, my hands are sticky. And there's one more other thing I wanted to do, and I cannot remember. All right, let's just do. All right, I'm going to set this aside to dry for a second, and we're going to take our tag. And I'm going to put glue all over it. This is the watered down Elmer's glue. Or white, I say white school glue because other countries and all, I don't know if you have Elmer's. But I'm going to take and just tear some of my, and I'm going to set it on here, and tear off, and set it on here, put some glue underneath here, and I don't care that it's wrinkled because it gives it deliciousness, and then tear off where it's still wet, and just keep building up. Now this is something that you can use then on an ATC card, and I'll show you in a momento. Let me a little bit more. And then we're just going to kind of give that a quick cover. And the great thing with tissue paper is you can see it comes right off. So, and then I got my water. All right, we're going to let that dry. Use my tissue paper. Bring this back. Now, here's the thing. Heat guns. People get confused about heat guns. I'm just reading real quick. Okay. A lot of people are questioning about heat guns all the time. You only need a heat gun if you're going to emboss. Otherwise, use your hair dryer. And if you don't have a hair dryer, go to the thrift store. They always have them there. But a heat gun can be a blessing and a curse when you're not embossing because sometimes it can make the glue buckle and, like burn. And if you want that texture, that's great. That's not exactly what I'm going for here. Now this paper you see is buckling, and that's only because the paper is so thin. It's a very, very thin paper. But I just want to show you something on here. Just going to hit that on for a minute. So, I've got another minute or so to go. Let me just wipe it. my glue. Somebody on YouTube, and I'm going to show this now so if they see the video, keeps asking me how these wore on a video that I did when I made my own alcohol inks. And this page is gessoed, this wasn't. And as you can tell, they wore very well. They've not faded. They look exactly like they did. It's the alcohol video I made, and then when I used it with the stencils, and they still look exactly like they did. I don't know how long ago I did it. And I use these for ATC backgrounds too. I just make these little, this is cardstock. I just make these little pieces and I keep them in a pile. And then when I go to do an ATC card, whatever strokes my boat, or floats my boat, or straw, I don't know what the hell it does. It just does something. But I get excited and I use them. Okay, come on, dry, baby, dry. A little bit wet right there. And then I'm going to take my, we'll do two things. Our Crayola. Anytime you use watercolors, no matter what brand, no matter what you're doing, always, always, always squirt. Squirt water on them for a minute before you use them. Now I'm just going to use a dark color, so I'm just going to spray my purple just so it like soaks in for a minute. And then maybe I'll do my, where's purple? Maybe I'll do the one next to it too. Just little squirts. Okay. And then let's do, this is one of the stencils I got from Angie. And I love them. So I'm just going to do a little thing there, and I'm going to use my little pouncer. If you don't have a pouncer, use your makeup brush. Maybe we'll use our makeup brush today just because. And I'm going to pounce it in the purple. Maybe on camera you can see it. Pounce, pounce, pounce. And you can see the color on there. And there's a couple mixtures of color. I'm not worried. I'm just going to put this here and hold it down, and I'm going to pounce. I got some brown and I got some purple in there. Now if I were to let that water sit a little bit longer, it would be a much more concentrated color. I probably should have squirted before. To me, squirting before the show meant I went pee, but that's a whole other thing. Let's squirt a little bit more water on there because it's a really good color. Or maybe we'll do some blue. It's darker. It's a little longer. And we're just doing this, doing this, doing this. All right, lift it up, and you get this beautiful stencil. Now, because I moved it a little bit when I was because of the one color didn't work, it went a little, Oh, wow, 33 viewers. I feel privileged. Wow, okay. So sometimes when you have this on the other side, that you have this color, if you turn it over and just kind of push it down or use your napkin. Now because it's watercolor, it's going to obviously be watery, but look how cool. So we got both parts of these. And these stencils, I don't know if she's going to be selling these, but they are cut so good. That, I mean, look at that. That's the opposite. They're fantastic. All right, I'm just going to wipe that off. And I wanted to show you that. And then I want to show you this. Let's do, I'll do pink. I'll leave that sit for a minute. How are you doing? You're drying. That's good, because we're going to do that next. I'm going to take my not so great brush. And I've done many ATC backgrounds with this. And I think the first one I did. But what I do is I will run the brush over it, as you can see. And you see how it picks up that? And then I'll go ahead and I can stamp it if I want. Can you see? You get it's just another way to get texture. It doesn't matter. Or what I like to do is, as well, I'll get a bigger brush. I'll use my wet brush here since it's watercolor. I like to take a lot of paint, like really water it down. And I'm just going to go over this part. Go like this. Put that down. Take my paper towel. Open it up. Lightly dab it. Lift it up. And then hit it with your hair dryer or just leave it drying. Can you see all the texture just from the paper towel dabbing it up? And you get all that great texture. So that's another fun way to do things. On here, now you see we put our scrapbook paper. It's not exactly the best color in the world, but it doesn't matter because with mixed media, and this is just watercolor paint, you just go over it. And you see I ripped on the edges here so you can see where that darkness is, where the paint picks it up. Let's go in just a little bit. And that's, I love that. So I can even go in to a darker color. And usually you want to dry in between. Let me just hit this really quick. Because you really don't want to muddy up everything. But I'm going to do some blue. And let's say I like this outside of the edge of the pink, but I'm not really loving this color inside. I want it to match my background more or what I'm doing, so I'm just going to leave this watercolor sit on here. Now again, something else, now I'm going to leave that sit for a minute. Something else that I love that I buy in bulk every time I go are craft paints. You cannot go wrong with a craft paint. You can go, I always tell you guys, do Roy G. Biv black and white. Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple, black, and white. And you can mix up practically any freaking color from those colors. And they always have these on sale. I have tons and tons and tons of craft paint. And they are very inexpensive and they're awesome. So I highly suggest those too as far as acrylics. I just think the bigger package of acrylics that you get are way better. All right. Okie dokie. So now I got that, and I'm just going to kind of, and you can see it mixed a little bit with the pink in the background, which made it a purpley color, but it changes this whole look. It gives it like an antique-y look. So this is just a it's like a piece of printer paper. And you get these great looks. And like I said, the Elmer's glue up here sealed this. And then again, you can use the Elmer's glue and water. A little bit more thicker, the glue, than the water than I had. And then you can go on and seal this, or seal this, and then work on top of it more, so it doesn't bleed or change anything. Understand that it's watercolor, so when you do that, it might bleed a little bit more, but for mixed media, who cares? Now, I'm going to use this for... Okay, what did I do with it? I had my ATC card here somewhere. Yep, that wasn't it. Where the hell did I put my ATC card? That's hysterical. Alright, I'll just grab a different one. Alright, so our ATC card. Now, can you guys all still hear me and everything? Just let me know before I continue on. because Ustream is having issues today. Okay, because I don't know what Ustream's doing today. Okay, good. All right. I just wanted to make sure because like nothing was going on my chat, and I'm like, what the heck? It says I have 28 viewers, and I'm like, okay, but why isn't anybody talking? Okay, so I'm sorry. I got a little insecure there for a moment. I'm like, oh, what happened? Now this is obviously a little bigger than an ATC, and I'm not going to sit here and physically cut it to really match the ATC size, but it's big enough that you guys can kind of see it. You see what I did here. Now, I know that this is, it's not that much bigger, but now what you can do is you can use this, you can glue this on, and if you really like the string and the top, you can do a background, which I'm going to do, and then you can glue this on and then work around it. Or you could just tear this into pieces and glue this on here. Or you could do the paper on here. But let me just see now because it's bothering me. There really isn't, I don't know if there is a difference between a wood burner and a stencil burner. Mine does both. Mine is a stencil and wood burner, it came in as. So maybe, is there a different setting or something? All right, so this is just like a quarter off. That'll make it look a little bit better. That's about right. Okay, so that's basically the size. Yeah, because I have a wood burner. It's a wood burner stencil burner. I don't know. They have like different things that you screw in for the stencil compared to the other one. So I'm not real sure. But what I am going to do is I'm going to show you how we are going to use our Crayola markers for a quick background, watercolor backgrounds. And I'm just going to pick some matching kind of colors, some pink. We'll start with those two. And I'm going to wet my ATC. And I'm going to take my, any kind of watercolor marker will do. It doesn't have to be Crayola. It just happens to be what I have here. You can buy store brand. You can buy whatever. And as you see, as I put this on here, it's almost like an alcohol inky look. So you can get a really cool effect. Whether you use the side or the tip, it doesn't matter. And then maybe I'll squirt a little bit more water on there. And can you see how cool that looks? And then I'm just going to go in with some pink. And that water just makes it run. And this is fun to do with the kids too. I mean, not just for us, but with the kids. And then you can give it another quick spray. You can hit it with your heat gun to kind of move it around a little bit. Or you could take your, because you know that we used watercolor on here, and there's still going to be, and it's going to, you can kind of just blend it together. It can be your blending tool. And add another color on there. And then take your paper towel, give it a quick push, lift it up, and look at this great background you have for your ATC card. Now, once this dries, you can continue to build up different colors on it. So let's dry it. And this is for people, I want to tell you guys, I have so many ideas in my head. And as your paper dries, you'll notice that it will straighten out a little bit more. Because once that paper gets wet, you know, it does curl. But you just kind of push it back and you're good. My gosh, I have 29 viewers. I am so excited. Well, here's the thing. These will reactivate once they're dry. However, if you do a very quick, let's just say, I'm going to stop what I'm doing right now. I'm going to take Mod Podge. Now, you can use the Elmer's and the Water too. Would you rather me do that, or would you rather me use the Mod Podge? I'll use the Elmer's since it's cheaper, and I'm trying to show you guys a little cheaper. All right. I'm just going to take my Elmer's glue again, squirt it out. We'll do it that way since I'm showing the cheaper ways. I'm going to just, the glue, and I'm just going to very quickly, you don't want to go back and forth on it. You just want to kind of take it down one time. And remember, I didn't gesso this, so the watercolor is going to go into the paper also, so it's not going to be as reactive as if we gessoed it. If that makes sense. Does that make sense to you guys? Now I'm going to dry it. Now you can use Mod Podge or whatever you have. I'm using the white school glue to show you the different ways that you can use this wonderful product that's so inexpensive. And can be used in so many different ways. So let me just get that Mod Podge put away. Also, yes, I was going to say, also you can go to the dollar store and buy aerosol hairspray, cheap dollar store aerosol hairspray. I used to love and spray that Aquanet like crazy. And that also, if you do a very quick thing on here, I mean, I have workable fixative, which is expensive, but you can use the dollar store hairspray and it'll do the same thing. Now this is almost dry, and then we'll do a completely different colors on top, just so you can see. But because I used a piece of paper and I did not, hey Nikki, just because I used a piece of paper and I did not gesso it, the watercolor tends to sink in. Okay, now normally you don't want that if you're doing a painting, but because it's the watercolor and we're doing ATCs and we love this different kind of effect, it doesn't matter. Yes, it has to be aerosol hairspray. It cannot be pump. I didn't even use any pump when I was in school doing my hair. And believe me, I had me some hair. Alright, so this is basically going to be dry. And I'm going to take blue and red just so you guys can see. And I'm going to re-wet because I want to have... Now, you see this dot right here? When I turned it over, I had some of that crayon on, some of that marker on my thing. So that was not underneath where I set it at. So that's just kind of hanging there. The rest of the stuff's not moving. Now, if you have a craft mat or wax paper, draw on it. Let's do it this way. Let's have some fun. And we know if we mix that in, we'll get some purple, and I'll mix on this side. And we have our sprayed wet paper, and let's just go for it. Look at that. And you just wipe it up, let it dry. I'm gonna wipe this up here. And look how cool that looks. I'm just going to quick dry it. A lot of people write me and they say to me that they're intimidated by a white piece of paper, whether it be ATC, whether it be canvas, whether it be mixed media, paper, watercolor paper, whatever. And these are some really great ideas that you can do to just get a background on the paper. Yeah, these are Crayola markers, yep. They're just Crayola. Any kind of marker will work. Any color kind of marker will work. And so here we go. And you can still see the color underneath. But then you got the colors on top. And that's another way to do it. Okay? So, all right, so that can be one background for something. All right? Now, let's say we want to do this as a background. Let's pick, I'm just going to pick a piece of paper that I'm not particularly fond of. I'm going to cut it as I knock over my water bottle. I'm going to cut it. And always save these little scraps of paper because, like, I save all these little pieces because you never know. Let's say that's our next ATC card. And let's say I went and I bought it and I don't like this particular, you know, piece of paper, whatever. So I have this. So now what do I want to do? I want to make this piece antique looking. Well, I can tear this into pieces and glue it on. I can just glue my tag on, but it's going to have extra outside edges. I want to build up on this, but I don't know what to do. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take back and I'm going to do it on both of these pieces, just my watercolor, my Crayola watercolor. Now, you know what you can do? You can also use your brown marker in your Crayola markers too. Remember, it'll both work the same. But I'm just going to use some brown watercolor paints. Get it nice and wet and sloppy. Set it over there for a minute. I'm going to go over this and I'm going to antique all this. Very wet and watery. I'm going to leave it sit for a minute. And you can do the strings too. Might need a little bit more for that. And I'm going to take a little bit more and do this piece. A little bit more water to spread it around because I want this to be a little antique too. And we're going to leave it sit for a minute. And do you see how it's picking up all the creases in that paper? How cool? I used Crayola brown washable. It's just the brown paint in the Crayola pack. I can't believe I had like 29 people here today. That's awesome. I didn't know so many would come. I'm so thrilled. And I'm gonna color it. Dry it. I already colored it. Just gonna get some of the moisture out because I want to show you something with this piece that we're gonna do. Well, if I could turn my heat gun off. Now I'm gonna take this piece and I'm just going to kind of crumple it. And then I'm going to uncrumple it. Now I'm going to take this and just wipe this off here. And I'm going to set this down here. And I'm going to crumple this a little bit. Wipe off that. And then bring this back up. Now can you see the beautiful, how it looks like leather? all those little pieces of that tissue paper that just kind of went on there. Isn't that awesome? I don't know so much how my hair got on there, but it did. It's still good. Could you see in front of the Crayola box? You want the watercolor paints? They're just this. And it looks like there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 24 colors in it. Bye, Lillian. Thank you for coming. So that's what that is. So here we are. I have the metallic markers. I will try that next. Give me a momento. Okay, so say we're doing our ATC and I want to glue, and I'm just going to use this. I'm just going to squirt my white Elmer's. I'm just going to call it Elmer's. Y'all know it's white school glue. And I'm going to have my brush a little wet, and I'm just going to run it down. You see it's still kind of thick. You can still see the white to it. Run it all over, both ways, the glue. And then I'm going to take this, because this is like really cool looking, and I'm going to tear it. And I don't care that I get those edges, but I'm going to just tear it. And I'm just going to start adding it on and building. On to my background for my ATC. And your fingers are going to get a little dirt, you know, not dirty, but like, you know, you're going to have glue on them. Who cares? What's the fun of doing art if you don't get dirty? And you can leave some of the background peeking out. Doesn't matter. I just keep tearing. Doesn't matter. Now you can lay that on there all one piece if you want. It doesn't matter. You don't have to tear it like I am. If you want to, you can. If you don't, don't. It's completely up to you. You can add a little piece in there. And I can add right here. You can always add more glue at the end, and it doesn't matter if it oversticks the outside of the card that we're going to cut, because after it's all dry, we'll cut all the extra hanging over so it's even. And I see I need a little piece in here. And we could do it like that. Now you can take your glue one more time if you want, or your brush. My brush still has a little bit of glue on it. I'm just going to go over everything. So making sure all the pieces are on there. Hit it with the gun. And I just hit it briefly. I don't need to dry it all the way right now. I can leave it air dry. And we're just building layers. And you can turn it over and do the other side. And then I just press on it just to make sure everything's kind of adhered down, and it'll finish air drying. Now, I gave you 2 ways to do. All right, what are, okay, wait a minute. Crayola, yeah, these are markers I'm using. These are Crayola markers. And this is only the 10 pack. I think you can even get a bigger pack. I just buy the 10 pack. And they also have skinny ones too. I buy the fat ones. Yeah. And I'm going to, you know what, Eileen? I'm going to show that in a second. So, okay, so we have two backgrounds here that we've done. So, if you're nervous of, and believe me, we all can do these, right? We all can do the same techniques that I just did for these two and end up with completely different looking backgrounds and completely different looking ATCs. But this is a way, like I said, I'm going to leave this dry a little bit. I know we're getting late and I don't want to continue, keeping you guys too long. But this top part's a great part. So you can also tear this off, right? And as much as you want. Keep as much as you want, throw away as much as you want of it. And you can also use this and glue that on top. And then you have this look on it. And then you just build from there. You glue this down and build your background from there. You could then go again and paint it. You can then go again and, like let's say we take our brown watercolor marker, Crayola marker. And we go in on these spots to make it a little bit darker where it's not exactly covering, right? Just to cover it all. And we're going to put water on there. So go down the sides where, I mean, it really doesn't matter. Just kind of rub it over it. And it's going to give it a little bit more of a look of leather too. And then just go in and water that down. And you can see it waters down. Now, yeah, some of it gets sucked in, but it doesn't matter because you're getting this great, just this great depth of what's poking out at you and what's like in the background. And then I just give it a brush down or whatever way you want to do it. And this could be used on canvas too. You can use the tissue paper, the brown paper bag. You can use whatever. And then I'll hit it with the heat gun again. Then I'll pick this up and show you. Yeah, Pipsqueak markers, all of them are water, as long as they're water soluble. I'm gonna look and see if I have the metallic ones up here or not. All right. Ask Elaine. Ask Elaine what she missed with me talking, because she said she had an ad going on and I don't know what she missed. Well, I looked for something very quickly for a momento. Okay. The thin ones and okay. I'm going to set this aside for a moment. Let me show you one here. I'll just grab one of these. All right, these are two different kind of markers. I'm going to show you two different kind of markers that are also water soluble. And these are not kid markers, but what they are stamp markers. the front of the box of Crayola markers, which was this. Crayola markers 10. They come in all kinds of different sizes in the box. But that's what they are. Sharpies are alcohol inks. Sharpies you would use as if you use Copics. The same with Bic. They are all considered alcohol ink markers that you can also use. If you can't afford Copics, go buy yourself Sharpies or Bic markers because they are alcohol inks. And that's why they have this smell. Now, this is a Marvy marker. All right, Sharpies, ink or alcohol markers are not soluble with water, correct. Okay, I'm going to tell you, I can't believe how many people I had here today. I'm like in awe. Most markers that are for stamping are usually watercolor, like that you can use them as the Crayola. These are Marvy brush markers. Mine are old. I've used them a lot. And then when I take see how that moves that ink around? Now remember, this isn't gessoed. If I gessoed it, maybe I'll throw a little gesso down or a little. But you can see. So if I wet this down here and then go to use my marker on it, you get a completely different look. You get a watercolor look. See? And it's the same thing with the Crayolas. And I'm using the side. I'm not using the point. You can use the point, but I'm using the side. And then when you want it to come back to what it is, you just wipe off where the water was. Now I can spray that, and you'll see it run. So it's like stamping markers. It's not Sharpies. It's not Bics. It's not Copics. It's not the Spectrum Noir. It's none of them. It is the more stamping ones. And more than not, the markers that you buy, besides the Copics and the Spectrum Noir, are they're stamping one. They're water soluble. Now let's put a little bit of this glue down for a minute, and then I'll show you one more thing, and then we'll do. I'm just gonna kind of real quick throw this over here so it dries to show you the difference. And I want to grab, I don't know where the heck they are. Can't even grab them. Alright, we'll let this dry. Yeah, you can definitely get mineral spirits and use them with colored pencils. Now I want to show you how cool this is. Wait a second. I'm making the faux crackle look. So I'm going to leave that dry on its own for a second. Read some of these. Okay. All right, let's go back to these. So what do you guys think of these two applications for ATC cards? As two layers then to build on top of this, because this would be such a cool steampunk background. And then you have a very cool, I mean, you can go even further with this one. And these were both not gessoed. Like I said, this was a piece of scrapbook paper that I just didn't dig, that I tore up a tag on. And this is just a ATC card. No gesso, no nothing, very cheap. Very easy to use. Now I'm gonna, that's almost dry. You have to pay for the Copic app? Well, they can kiss my ass. I spent $500 on their fucking markers. I ain't gonna get sponsored from them, I'm sure. I don't really give a shit. They rape you for a fucking app? Yep, I did brown paper bag last week. And brown paper bags, any of that would work. Alright, so now I got my glue on here and it's dry. So what I'm going to do is take, what shall I use? What shall I use? I'm going to take, let's do blue since it's darker. And I'm going to just put some blue on my mat. And if you have wax paper, you just put it on there. No big deal. Take your brush. You want water in it. You want to get this nice and watery. Both sides of the brush. And you want to run it down on this. Let's see if it'll work on here. Might not work on here. We will see. But I'm all for trying. But you see how you can make the watercolor. No big deal. If I was on camera, it'd be better. Okay, now let's watch as this dries. Let me wipe this up. Let's watch what happens. Well, it was going to crackle, but it kicked my ass and it said, I ain't going to crackle today. It's crackling a little bit. I should have put a thicker coat of the glue on. I got little crackles. Yep, little crackles. I don't know how good you can see that. See the little crackles? So you get a little crackle background. I should have put heavier glue on, but I didn't. So I got little pee-wee crackles. And can you see I have the glue here and there's no glue down here. So I have my gesso base essentially right here. So the blue crayon, the blue marker looks completely different as if I had gesso under it, but I didn't. It was just Elmer's glue. So can you see all the different things that Elmer's glue can do? Like I said, I got little crackles. As you can see, they're little. But I could have done it. I could have, you know, I was just hoping it worked. But again, now what I'll do is I'll cut this out and I'll glue it on the back of an ATC card and I have a background. You don't have, you can just sit and play. You can sit and play. Now, if you have a stencil, let's say you have a stencil, very quickly, and then we're going to go because I don't want to keep you. But we have a stencil. I've done this a million times too. You don't have to have all the fancy schmancy stuff. Use your markers. Yeah, does it take a minute more? Yeah. You can also, so you get your stencil, you can also put it on here. Remember? That one's drying out, but let's go back to our favorite blue. I'll just mix it in, get a color there. Take your brush, mix it in there, put that down, run it. Now it's going to run a little bit because my brush was a little too wet, but you get the understanding of what we're doing. I know I made my brush too wet. Not going to worry about it. And lift it up. And you can have your stencil. You know, you don't have to have all the fancy schmancies. And then, of course, like I always say, turn it over. Blot it down. It doesn't matter what kind of, you know, if you get a full stencil print or not. And it's as easy as that. It's not a lot of stuff. So, like, not a lot of stuff to do. So, I'm going to move my camera back up. Okay. Alright. Oh dear. I'd rather look at the cards than that. Alright, so do you guys have any questions? I just did very quickly, Nikki, I just put my watercolor marker on my non-stick pad. I wet it with my paintbrush, put it through a stencil, and did that very quickly. Yeah, I have actually on my YouTube, I have like 5 videos of how to do crackle with Elmer's glue. I do. I just didn't put it on as thick as I should have. You just want heat. The heat helps speed it up. The heat doesn't give it the crackle. What gives it the crackle is you want a base coat of paint, or if you just are going to use, you know, a piece of paper, and you take your white school glue, and you want it really thick, and I always like squirt it really thick on the top. Take a big brush and just pretty hard, like not hard that you're pressing down too hard, but you want it to have the brush strokes in it, and only take it one way. Take it down, go up, take it more down, all the way down, and then go on top while the glue is wet. Do the same thing with paint, and then take it down, and then I heat it with the heat gun, or you can leave it air dry, and it crackles beautifully. And if I do a video this week, or I have time, or I'll send you the video, one of the videos I did, and show you exactly how to do it. Oh, yeah, the transfer. Yeah, because I see it's 2:20. I'm like over my hour that I usually stay. Yeah, I'll either do it on here or I'll do it on a video. Yeah, transfer. I'll do that. Matter of fact, I have a video of using 5 different glues for transfers. I used a glue stick, Elmer's glue, matte medium, Mod Podge, and I think Collage Podge, all with an inkjet printer. So I'll put that in All Things Creative. Are you in All Things Creative? Mandy Cat? I can't right now remember your name. I'm so sorry. I can't even remember my own name. No, it's not heat dependent, Laura. But yeah, I definitely will put in All Things Creative. If you guys are not in there already, it's called All Things Creative. It's on Facebook. Just search for All Things Creative. Ask to join. I'll let you in. We got a big group going on. And like I said, I'll put the video that I did do for the transfers in there. And then if you guys want to see another one, I'll do another one. I do videos over and over. So do you guys have any questions? Besides the transfers, I know they're very exciting, the transfers, and um, I went overboard. I went overboard with my backgrounds because I love doing backgrounds. Well, Sherry, you're in all things creative, aren't you? Thank you, Tam. Yeah, Nikki, I'll find it. I'll put it because instead of you guys going through all my videos, although on the front page, if you click my name on YouTube, it takes you to a front page and I have things kind of categorized. But I'll gladly find it and put it in all things creative. You guys don't have to go search for it. I don't mind. I have not talked to Annie today, so as far as I know, she is. I don't know. So no questions? That's it. All right, I want to thank everybody for being here. I can't believe I had so many people. So excited. As always, you can find me on Facebook under Kelly Donovan. You can find me in the group All Things Creative on Facebook. You can find me on YouTube. You can search Kelly Donovan or Knitting and Things. Um, God, I'm on Twitter. I'm on Pinterest. I'm a whore. I'm everywhere. Everywhere you want me, I'm there. As always, ask questions. You can email me at knittingandthings@netzero.com. Ask away. Any questions on today's show, just ask. And I always love suggestions for shows. I have something I'm probably going to do next week, so I'm going to ask you guys to find or pick up any type. I can't get to my other box because it's over there because I have every type imaginable. Paint chips in colors that you want. Because we are going to do a jewelry video next week, a jewelry show. And that, I think next week my show's at night at 9 p.m. Eastern. But we're going to be doing some jewelry with some paint chips. So go pick up a bunch for free. I do all the time. They'll never say anything. Only one time, the guy behind the paint thing looked at me, and I made my husband, who's a big guy, come stand behind me, and nobody said anything to me. But you can pick up colors all the time. And pick up like a nice palette that you like of colors. Pick up a couple of each. So if you, make a mistake or something. And we're going to have a little fun next week and just do something fun. So, yeah, so get some paint chips. And as always, I thank you all from the bottom of my heart. I love doing these shows. I love you guys all being here and chatting and all these other kind of things. And I will see you in the outside world. So always, as always, be kind to each other. You never know what battle somebody else is fighting. And peace out. Bye, guys.